And now we talk about one of the most interesting topic or element of public speaking, and that is language. Yes, while this is very important, I will really not want to use the word very important because all the elements that I'm talking about are equally important, right? You may have the right language, but if you do not have the rest of it, things don't work out very well. But if you have everything all sorted, but the language isn't there, it again doesn't work out. So, what is the solution then? The solution is when you start speaking in public, the first thing you need to ensure is that both of you speak a common language. Now, at home or with your friends, if there's someone you meet who does not understand your language, you do kind of tend to use some actual words like, these, whatever. But when it comes to professional speaking, it doesn't really work. So, yes, in business communication, you might want to use a translator, but um, in normal meetings, right? Maybe it's within the same country, but yes, you don't speak English, or the other person does not speak English, English, whatever, okay? Whatever it is. How would you sort that out? First of all, the language that you use needs to be common. If it's not common, I would say ask someone else to present it who has a common language. Okay. Now that does not mean, or please don't kind of um, be hesitant in opening up and saying that you are not confident in that language. It's okay to do that. Even if your client comes and says that she wants some presentation in English and you're not comfortable in English, it's okay to say, is there any other common language we could speak in? Or give it to someone else. And it's okay to say that you're not confident presenting this in English, but you would definitely love to present it in X language. Now, that language could be anything. And if they are aware of it, obviously they should be aware of it, and they should be also, comfortable and aware of that language. Only then you can use these sentences. So try doing that. I mean, there are cases where in a professional communications have not been conducted in English. And trust me, that's absolutely fine. Okay? Because that way you'll be able to communicate better. But coming back to English language, let's say now you've found a person or you found the audience who speak your language, and you are talking in a common language, and that is English. Considering that, you also need to consider a few more things about language. Now, if you are speaking to kids, the language you use will be different. If you're speaking to the professionals, the language you speak will again be different, So, and the way you express yourself in that language will also change depending on who you are talking to and who is your audience again. Now, age group definitely matters. Now, talking about culture, there could be many things. Especially if you are speaking in public, in a different culture than you are in, you might want to first know their culture and at least the basics about how they greet in their culture. What are the words they use? What are the words that are offensive, or they do not entertain or encourage? Try knowing those before you start presenting, just to be on a safer side, And of course, the connection and the bonding that you have to build up during the presentation. It is important that you know their culture. Okay. The third thing would be the subject. Now, what language would you talk in in terms of the subject will depend again on who you are talking to. Maybe you speak with your clients in any other language, but if the subject, the topic that you will be presenting is in English, it's preferred that you speak English as well. If the presentation you've prepared is in some other language, you can definitely speak in that language as well, because then there'll be a sync, right? There you will be able to relate to what you're talking, and they will also be able to connect with your presentation. Very important. So the subject, the culture, and the age group, very important. Find out the common language that both of you speak and both of you are comfortable in, for you to speak confidently and communicate with confidence, right? So that's about it for the language. And right, if like I mentioned, if the other person doesn't speak your language, and if it's a business communication, you please find someone who can translate the language to the client's language. Okay, that's about it for language. We will now talk about the next thing, that is eye interaction. Very important. That goes hand in hand with the language, of course. See you in a minute with the interaction.